It's been a long time, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very long time. I haven't uploaded a video discussing this team in close to a year. Close to a year. And I should probably seek a therapist to figure out the answer to why I have decided to start doing this again on the heels of one of the more devastating, embarrassing, and sick to my stomach losses that this franchise has given me for as long as I can remember. I have been on this planet for almost 40 years, and I should be used to this by now. I should be used to the Minnesota Vikings being absolute disappointments when it matters most. But for some reason, I'm not. For some reason, I still watch. And for that reason, I'm going to continue to talk about them. I've been wanting to reboot and reestablish on here for quite some time. It's just never made sense to do it. But then I found myself figuring yesterday that, there never is a right time. There never is a good time. Any time can be a good time. So here we are. We're back. And boy, there is a lot to talk about, isn't there? But I think for most of you guys who are Vikings fans, this loss, as embarrassing as it was, as unprepared as they looked, as really poorly as Sam Darnold played, I think most of y'all were probably not shocked. Do I have the vibe check right on that? Is this one of those situations where you look at the Minnesota Vikings, the history of the team, 60 plus years of disappointing failures, one after another, just racking them up? Is this an outcome that you kind of saw coming, right? I think most of us throughout this 14-win season that we experienced in the probably what is going to be the one-year hit of Sam Darnold, we're just kind of waiting for the wheels to fall off. Now, I myself thought that way back in the regular season when we first lost to the Lions and the Rams and Christian Darrisaw went down, I thought that was it. I thought we were cooked at that point. I thought the blueprint was made and we were going to start to get slaughtered as the end of the season approached, and we weren't going to sniff the playoffs. So it was going to be like a repeat of that 5-0 start that we had that one year with Sam Bradford as quarterback. Weird how we have rejuvenated the quarterbacking careers of two Sams now. Let's hope that there's no more of that. Anyway, yeah, I kind of felt that at the Christian Darrisaw injury juncture that this team was done and they weren't going to be able to recover from that. And then they go out and trade for a left tackle, go figure. And they somehow put it together. But as it turns out, it didn't matter because the Lions and the Rams were their undoing both in the regular season and in the postseason. I'm going to count Week 18 as the playoffs because that's sort of what it is now, right? For most teams anyway. And on the biggest stages, once again, we look like idiots. And I'm so tired of it. And that's why we're going to come back on here and we're going to figure out ways to fix it, hopefully. And we're going to begin that discussion with Sam Darnold because for the last month, 2 months, 3 months, 48 hours, the conversation around Sam Darnold, the Minnesota Vikings, and the future relationship between the two has fluctuated immensely. And the problem is that Sam Darnold sort of didn't do himself any favors with how poorly he performed against the Lions and the Rams. And the league of the NFL as a whole is sort of, what have you done for me lately? And the most recent performance is always going to be the one that sticks in people's minds the most. The body of work, unfortunately for him, is going to be largely ignored because, in my opinion, a 14-win regular season that results in nothing, not even one playoff win, is a huge disappointment. And looking at the schedule that the Vikings played and sort of, kind of taking a look at the teams where they're at now versus where they were at the beginning of the season and when we played them, it's not that intimidating, if I could throw that out there. Sam Darnold, I don't think has a future with the Minnesota Vikings because of his two most recent performances and the fact that they had already invested draft capital in J.J. McCarthy, and this was always sort of the plan, right? Sam Darnold would play for a while, and then eventually J.J. McCarthy would take over. Just nobody sort of predicted or could predict that J.J. McCarthy would get injured in the preseason, and Sam Darnold would be able to keep his job longer than anticipated. We can't discredit, 35 touchdown passes, 14 wins, but at the same time, I don't think that Sam Darnold replicates this result over a season, over an 18-game season with any other franchise. Because where is he going to go? That's going to have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw, and Kevin O'Connell calling plays in his helmet. Nowhere. He's not going to get that anywhere. So I don't know what to make of Sam Darnold as a quarterback. As a person, couldn't be more than happy for him that some team is going to give him a pretty decent contract. It's not going to be the Vikings because J.J. McCarthy is waiting in the wings, and I know people are going to bring up the timeline of his recovery from injury and whether or not he's actually ready, because at this point he's gotten very little to no experience on the field, and I'm fine with that. Because as I stated, this has always been the plan for J.J. McCarthy to eventually take over. We all thought it was going to be like week 5, week 7, week 10. Turns out it's going to be 2025. It's the same plan. It's just taking a little bit longer to get to the end result, which is J.J. McCarthy being the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold, thanks for the memories, but I think it is best that these two entities part ways. That is my take on the subject. And as the thumbnail suggests, he's lost himself a lot of money over the course of the past 17 days, which is unfortunate for the person that is Sam Darnold. But as far as the quarterback goes, it was never sustainable. And I think a lot of fans, I'm going to guess here that a lot of Vikings fans were really waiting for the wheels to fall off of this wagon, because we hadn't seen Sam Darnold do this ever. And this is what, his 4th team in how many years? He played pretty good with the Panthers, but nobody cared because it's the Panthers. And then he was a backup in San Francisco, never really got a serious crack at that because of Brock Purdy's existence. But what he did this year, I don't think he can replicate. And if the Vikings were to keep him, I think you're just delaying the inevitable a little bit more, which is J.J. McCarthy taking over, which I am ready for. I am on board with that, because what I saw these last 2 games, I don't want any part of anymore. Because what's the point if he's really good during the regular season and he just absolutely stinks up the joint in prime time when it matters most? If you weren't going to pay Kirk Cousins $30 to $40 million, why would you do it with Sam Darnold? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that is where I am currently at on the Sam Darnold situation. My opinion could change, but I don't think it's gonna. I think I am completely sold on the idea of him moving on to another team. Thank you, good luck, goodbye, and switching over to J.J. McCarthy for 2025. Could they franchise tag him and trade him? Maybe, but I don't know what his trade value is now. And I mean, they need draft picks desperately, which we are going to address in a future video. But yeah. Trading Sam Darnold after a franchise tag is a little risky business that I kind of don't want any part of. Just let bygones be bygones, and just let him go. Just let him walk and go earn his bag somewhere else, which he's going to get from some team, because the economics of the league and the quarterback market sort of demand it, because there's just not enough competent quarterbacks to go around. So some team is going to take a chance and give him a lot of money to come be their signal caller for however many years. So that's it. Welcome back to the discussion. For those of you that are still here and never left, I appreciate it. And if you're just finding me for the first time, things will get a little bit more better as I get reacclimated to this format. I've been doing some things on other apps that are currently going to be going away soon. Yeah. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now as we continue to talk about the Minnesota Vikings going on into the future. And I don't know. I have to figure out an outro, I guess. Or maybe I just hit the off button. We'll see.